It's Friday, everybody! Welcome to the Football Ramble preview show. Big results in South America last night, and England are up tonight. It's Friday, 17th of November. I'm Marcus Speller.
I'm Jim Campbell.
I'm Pete Donaldson.
And I'm Vidushan Antaraja.
It's Friday, everybody, and there are smiles in the studio. Pete, have you got a new grill?
I have got a new grill, yeah. I bought it from a shop and I'm cooking all my food on it and I'm having a healthy time.
A multi-purpose grill.
I'm not eating any vegetables. I'm wearing a suit. I'm basically Jordan Peterson of the Ramble. I'm just eating steak. Right, let's get on the show.
Let's get on with the show.
Let's get on with the show. Though I worry about... I've got into Undertaker's friend, haven't I? I'm Jordan Peterson.
He's not really Undertaker's...
I worry about the boys of the future.
If you don't know who he is, then well done.
You also sound like the gingerbread man as well.
Oh, no.
Gentlemen, we have to start by saying the Tbilisi curse has been broken for the Bonnie Scots.
A bit.
What do you mean a bit?
Well,
did
did
that?
they?
Well, that's not. It's the curse was that they always lost their Jim.
Yeah, but
so
I
are you
think-
not counting that as a draw?
I am counting it as a draw,
Okay.
but it's not a win. I think the curse.
Know your
isn't-
curses.
I don't think the curse is done.
Right.
No.
I think that's.
So if
it's
Benfica win a
folly.
European trophy on penalties, you're like, nah, not good enough.
Well, they did. If Benfica win, their curse is broken, isn't it? I'm not having this.
Well, okay, Jim.
Did you see the curse of the Colonel was broken quite recently?
What was that?
It's the one in Japan, the baseball one in
I
Osaka.
thought you were talking about the KFC for a minute.
So did I. Yeah.
I am talking about
Oh,
KFC.
oh,
I am talking about the Colonel's curse.
Please
I
continue.
can't remember what it's like. Hanshin Tigers. I can't remember which baseball team were in Osaka, but in the late 80s, I think they won a big baseball tournament. I don't really know what that is. The World Series of Japan or whatever.
The Japan Series.
And everyone would jump. If you looked like one of the players in the team, you would jump in the Dotonbori River. Unfortunately, there was a couple of American guys who were playing on the team in the 80s. Might be in the early 90s. And so they threw a statue of the KFC Colonel into the river. They didn't find it for ages.
Yeah.
When they did find it, it lost a hand and it lost glasses. But they've never won a World Series since that happened. But it was the series was broken. That run of bad luck was broken this year. Last
about
month, in
that?
fact.
Wow.
The curse of the Colonel is now done. People died looking for like the glasses in the hand of the KFC Colonel.
Okay.
They dragged out the river and then they
Stone glasses.
it was real glasses they'd put on a statue,
Yeah.
but they gave it back to KFC and went, "Do you want this back?" And it was just this filthy statue, and they went, "No, of course not.
No, it's
We're not
cursed."
putting that outside. It's cursed. And it's cursed."
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll never sell a bit of chicken again.
Well, I think they'll be all right. But I do
We don't
think
know.
with this curse, I'm no expert on curses, but to me, it just seems suspicious. You know, that feels to me like it's not quite gone yet. There's a sequel, potentially.
I'm no expert on curses.
But I'm no expert on curses, but
But if I'm going to have a go,
Maybe. International Week.
Vish, I mean, look, it's, the fact is they got a late equaliser, Scotland. Old Shankland scored. So it was a bit of relief there. But as I say, it is a step in the right direction from Scotland. They've done this a lot through this qualifying campaign by qualifying early, of course, and not losing in Georgia, whether it's still cursed or not, is a decent result for them, all things considered, I think.
yeah, and maybe this is thinking about it a bit too much, but it's a decent result to be annoyed about as well, isn't it? Because
like
it
what
felt
you've done
like
there.
everyone came out of that game. Steve Clark said that they were too impatient in their build-up. McTominay called some of the Georgian players disgraces for rolling around on the floor.
Rolling around like babies.
Rolling around like babies, yeah.
Crying like babies,
babies do
yeah.
roll, actually, don't they? Because they can't support the neck.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there was they should have picked one up and tried to burp it. Imagine if you picked up a player and tried to burp a
Is that a
Georgian
booking?
player. I suppose it would be, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Technically,
it's quite unsporting, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's not
think-
quite ungentlemanly conduct. If anything, it's gentlemanly conduct.
I think
Depends on the tone.
I think
of
it
the
would be.
burping.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it would be frowned upon.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, obviously, Kvaratskhelia or Kvaradona scored a couple of goals.
I was thinking about Kvaratskhelia because he's still quite early in his career, but he's got a very distinctive silhouette, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Does very
And he
distinctive style of
Yeah.
running and playing. A little bit of Blanco, the Mexican player.
I like that. Yeah,
Sort of
yeah.
Slightly hunched.
Slightly hunched, always leaning forward.
Yeah, but a bit of Grealish, not with the posture, but with the socks down and that.
Well, it's quite a common trait, isn't it? Of people
yeah.
who play football like he does, quite classy players.
A little bit of Chris
bit
Waddle,
exciting.
I think, with the way maybe shimmies and stuff and whatnot. But he's a lovely player, no doubt. The first goal as well, the way he slid in and scored, it was like that was like a centre half making a last ditch tackle, but yet he's managed to score.
Yeah, it's a bit like you think players like that like walking off the field clean. Like, don't get your shorts dirty, mate. Leave that to others.
Yeah, not Faradona though. He was excellent. But yes, McTominay scored again. Pete Donaldson.
Yes, he cannot stop it. I cannot stop it, I shout.
It is remarkable how sometimes international football can elevate certain players. And he's very much been one of them. He'll be crucial when they go to the Euros next summer, of course.
In my mind, he only scores goals in the second half, but I'm sure that's not true. I don't know why. There was a rescue job on.
Yeah, well, he got the equaliser there, but the rescue job really was Shankland, of course, in the dying seconds.
In the piece in the Guardian, it said the late Lawrence Shankland. Lawrence Shankland sounds like a late name, doesn't it? It's like the late Lawrence Shankland who invented the bean.
Yeah, I would have thought with a name like that, it sounds like he owns land in Scotland and they're not happy about it.
Yeah. Local protesters converged on the driveway of Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah, he would buy the country pub. He'd do like what Sting did. Was it Sting who bought the country pub next to him and closed it? Because it was too much noise.
That's a big allegation.
That's a big one.
I think it is Sting.
Have a little quick look.
Have a little Google.
Yeah.
While we're Googling that, I think it is loath as you are for me to take it back to the football.
Please.
That late winner is massive, isn't it? Because they'd lost a few games now. That sense of momentum had been halted for Scotland. And even though this isn't a win, and as we know, it's inconclusive or not as to whether the curse has been lifted, it does get that momentum back on track a little bit. And they will have been wanting to top the group, and that's bit harder now.
Yeah.
But it's still important. Steve Clarke spoke a lot before the game about keeping this going, not being complacent, and essentially having to test themselves against better opposition and prove themselves against better opposition. And you can see that they're looking towards that by essentially trying to get some more players to declare for Scotland.
Yes.
I think they need a bit more of an attacking threat, don't they? Harvey Barnes would be a great addition if they could get him.
Have you heard the latest one?
Yeah, Anthony Gordon.
Gordon.
I can't see Anthony Gordon doing that. I mean, he's surely on the. I mean, after his England under-21 heroics last summer and whatnot,
I would say that like Scotland is basically it's basically Newcastle United's assistant manager FC.
Yeah,
right. So you got Carver there, obviously.
I thought you were going to say
as well.
I thought you were going to say Glasgow's closer to Newcastle than London, so therefore mighty fancy it.
Well, I mean, like it's that nosy character from World War II, sort of poking over a wall, going, "Come on,
what? No England
get
caps?
over here." What no England caps? Come over here. What no England caps?
Well, that was this caption, wasn't it? What no bananas?
What no bananas?
Yeah, exactly. Can he? Would he be eligible for Saudi Arabia now, or does it not work like that?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. I mean, I'm sure. Are you allowed, as a country, allowed to relax the rules of citizenship?
I don't think you can.
If you live abroad, presumably you can't you?
Maybe.
Whenever you get a flight to sort of Central America, you always get that advert saying, "Come to St. Lucia and give us 10 grand and you can have a cool passport."
Yeah, and you can jump the queues. Well, they have been trying to get Harvey Barnes to switch allegiances. Tino Livramento as well, and as you mentioned, Anthony Gordon and Elliot Anderson. So, as you said, Peter, it is very much the focus on Newcastle United.
I think Anderson got as far as a training session, didn't he? Or he was called up for a group and then decided if he needed more time, which fair enough.
I mean, this is just John Carver going through his contact list.
Yeah. He's only got Shawler in.
And no, it was the Newcastle United janitor, and he said, "Right, there's a couple of guys I've been talking to." He said, "Listen, if he's got some sort of relation who's Scottish, then we'll have a look."
Do you think that's too honest? I thought maybe refreshingly so, but I suppose it's not something that's ever been kept a secret.
No,
it's not like this is a particularly new tactic they're employing.
Ireland in World Cup '94.
Yeah,
but even specific to Scotland as well. I think, I suppose the annoying thing would be players jumping on at certain times. So, for example, Che Adams ahead of the Euros, a lot of people got annoyed by that. And I suppose if you're a fan, you probably have a bit more truck with it if it's an option that's going to either cover up a blind spot or improve a blind spot where you don't have that much depth, or is someone who's actually going to come into the first team.
Yeah.
And I suppose if you're a player, you're probably thinking, Well, brilliant, mate. I thought this is, my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play in a tournament. And I suppose from Scotland's point of view, obviously this is relatively short-term, but it's within the span of those players' career. But if you're consistently being a team that's going to major tournaments, it kind of sells itself, doesn't it? You maybe don't need John Carver, of all people, to, come on, get in.
Well, I mean, look at the aforementioned Scott McTominay. I mean, I think it was his parents or one of his parents Scottish. There's obviously a proper link there. But, he has been one who has been, that was mentioned, obviously, because he's clearly, you see his accent, where he's from. But it's worked out very, very well. So if you can do this, I mean, you still get, there was one recently. There's still one or two English people that seem to think that Evan Ferguson might, declare.
Yeah.
It was never a thing. Like it was, I find it laughable that it's even mentioned. And Ferguson himself looked particularly awkward in the interview, and not awkward. He just looked bemused and was a bit like serious.
But the reaction to it was quite full on, and rightly so. I think we always have to be.
Mind you, though, in the interview's defence, he probably thought, Grealish, Rice, we've done okay with this. Maybe we should. But no, it was.
I like it when
behaviour.
when it happens like really late in people's career, like Shaw at the World Cup.
Matt Elliott,
Yeah.
Vinnie Jones.
It's always the way, isn't it? Because it makes you think like, are they waiting for late call-ups from their the country of birth?
Well, clearly.
Right? Just like even if it's really, really unlikely though. And as Vish says, that's when it becomes a bit of a.
Well, look at Mikel Antonio. I mean, he's not that long ago started playing for Jamaica, and look, he's obviously got Jamaican heritage, hence the call-up. But where he is sort of, if you like, physically from is England, and so he will be thinking, well, there's a chance or whatever. And there's a few players who play for Nigeria at the moment with Alex Iwobi and
Tarek Lamptey plays for Ghana.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, this is sort of standard stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but that tends to, like the Nigerian FA
are pretty hot on this.
Yeah, they kind of went through to do it, but it kind of makes sense if you think about like the diaspora in this country.
Yeah.
Like there's and I speak of someone of my generation. So I'm 37. My parents moved over here in 84. I was born in 86.
Yeah.
I don't really have an affiliation to Sri Lanka, but a lot of what I am and a lot of the things I feel and culturally am aware of are very Sri Lankan.
Sure.
And I suppose it kind of, in some ways, and I'm only speaking personally here, but I've noticed it from even someone like Alex Iwobi and the way
I think Alex Iwobi was born in Nigeria, to be fair.
But even Alex Iwobi has spoken about, actually, it's quite a cool thing to, it's not quite giving it back, but it kind of puts you more in touch with perhaps a side of your self that you've kind of unwillingly closed in your own way because you've just grown up in a different country.
Or closed for you, if you like, kind of thing.
Yeah, but a lot of times it is actually a choice.
Okay.
I more through like, it's quite hard to cultivate two different personas. Like some people in my family are good at it. I'm not particularly good at it. But if, for example, I was a footballer and I was not playing for England and Sri Lanka came calling, I think, oh, you know what? That is very cool, and that's a very different way, quite a unique way of getting in touch with that part of yourself.
Yeah, and I think that's quite profound. I mean, obviously, I do remember though when Danny Welbeck played for England against Ghana at Wembley, he got booed by the Ghana fans when he came on because he'd obviously, you think he could have played for Ghana,
right?
And I thought, come on, that's a bit unfair. But all countries do it, as you say. I mean, England.
I would take Haaland.
Well,
I would take Leeds-born Erling Haaland.
Yeah, we can't do that, and unfortunately,
can't do it now. But...
Yeah. It's just, it's a bit like when Kasper Schmeichel, who was born here, I believe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think his father will probably decide. He'll have the casting vote.
Yeah. It's funny, there were a few examples of non-English players that became eligible for England. Manuel Almunia was one.
Yeah. That's
Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
Well, I remember. And that,
John
I think
Barnes.
it would have been very strange.
John Barnes is quite a famous example.
Paulo Di Canio as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Because he'd never played for Italy, of course. Yeah, and he could have become naturalised and all that. Interesting, very interesting. Of course, well, Scotland do face Norway and Erling Haaland in their final group game. Martin Odegaard has missed Arsenal's last 3 games after being hit in the face with a ball in training, we've heard, Jim. So not brilliant stuff for him. That does make it sound like he's a bit soft.
It does.
But then if you do get absolutely cannoned
break
in the
your
face...
nose, you can break an orbital bone or
exactly,
something.
yeah.
It met the criteria to count as concussion, apparently.
Yes.
So you have to have 6 days. I think 6 days away from being hit in the face with stuff.
Telling everyone, I got my bell rang.
Yeah,
Did
and
you
then,
have 6 days soft play or something?
yeah, I believe so.
Right.
Yes, and then you I think you have to pass certain tests as well. So you have to have no symptoms after that.
Yeah,
So
but like
he's
I
also got a hip injury.
Yeah, as I say, when I read it, it's because he got hit in the face by a ball. You've got to word
Bloody
that.
Arsenal don't like it up and do that.
They don't.
You were
Jim.
thinking.
It's yet further. No, they should word that differently. You have to say
Sanction Arteta.
he got absolutely cannoned in the face by a ball.
Yeah.
That is the only way you can do that. But of course, Scotland now must beat Norway and hope Spain lose to Georgia if they want to top the group.
See, this is a shame, isn't it? Because you were hoping that they might top the group, get in a better pot potentially, but
Well,
we'll see. Who
So
knows?
You would think Spain would top the group. Speaking of Spanish things, everybody, how about this? Spain legend Xabi Alonso joined Andy on the continent this week.
Whoa.
That is massive.
Huge.
Up until now, I
Huge
thought
for
I was
Xavi.
the only rambler that very, 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 very briefly spoke to that man. Alonso, as well as Granit Xhaka, spoke to Andy on the latest edition of At the Match, all about how Bayer Leverkusen have transformed themselves from relegation contenders to Bundesliga leaders in just 18 months. So to hear that episode, just search On the Continent on your podcast app and make sure you subscribe while you're there. That is massive, though. Xabi Alonso, he's a beautiful man, beautiful player, and a beautiful manager, it would seem, Peter.
Certainly. And when I sort of see Andy sharing a dugout or a chair, well, 2 chairs.
During the game.
Sharing a chair with Xabi Alonso in the interview.
I heard
Imagine
that-
if he was sat on his lap.
Yeah.
Did you not realise Andy's assistant manager at Bayer
He had,
Leverkusen?
he had a little baby's bottle that he was feeding Alonso. But it gives me...
Exactly the plug Andy would have wanted, I'm sure.
They're called dummies. It's called if you. I'm just getting in a Euro 2024. I'm getting excited about it.
You are?
I'm getting excited about Germany. I'm getting excited
Yes.
about having a kebab in the street. I'm getting
is
excited about
that
eating
tonight, or
sausages
is
and
that
black
next
pudding
summer?
and man,
Yeah. You can do kebabs in the street any time.
I can,
But it's not
better
a
in
special,
Germany.
not a
Isn't
they're
it?
better over there.
Better over there.
Better
Better
over
somehow.
there. Oh, hey, how about
Can't
that?
wait for the queues.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We do love a queue. Gentlemen, tonight, England versus Malta. Big one at Wembley. England have already qualified, thank goodness. Will Gareth Southgate experiment with his team against the minnows of Malta tonight?
I was working in the lab last night with my waistcoat on and my Bunsen burner light.
We've got this player. He's got the legs of Grealish. He's got...
What have you done? You're going to prison.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear. It's like, yeah.
I think you should answer that question
Yeah.
because I think you know the answer. Because we're all going to give the answer we want.
Yeah.
And you, as a Southgate acolyte,
Yeah.
for good reason,
Thank you.
will correct us and say, yeah, but... So let's start.
No.
with your-
You
Are we
give
going
your
to see the
answers.
Marcus match?
No, you give your answers, and I'm not going to say anything. How about that? You got a free
Okay,
hit.
so do you think he experiment? Yeah, I think he will. Yeah, because
Right.
he's like that.
With who?
He'll
Huh?
experiment.
With who?
With Rico Lewis,
Yeah.
Cole Palmer.
Okay.
You think he's going to go full on like
No,
like
no,
the
no. I
youngsters?
don't. I think
Yeah.
I think he will experiment to a point within the parameters he's already set out. I was going to answer this and get excited about all the talent, and I knew you were going to reel me in.
No, I'm not reeling you in.
You are. You're doing it now with your eyes.
No,
Stop
That's
reeling
luring
me.
you, licking his lips and blowing kisses your way.
Yeah. Did you see the Rondo clip?
Yes.
that was
Oh,
going
it's
around?
great.
Makes you feel sick.
But like,
this
Like
is-
watching a turbine go around.
so it's basically you're Piggy in the middle with Kyle Walker, the fastest man in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Johnson.
Sam Johnson
Can't use
whatever.
his hands, though.
Can't use his hands, but quite big bloke. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were obviously in tight. Cole Palmer running a session basically,
Carl Palmer
Yeah.
was the man of the moment. Now, I
Rico
understand.
Lewis was very impressive.
and then Rico Lewis.
as well.
Yeah, for a brief moment, it's like right, okay.
Rico Lewis is probably like, oh, yeah, we do about 80 of these at Man City to
Yeah.
get warmed
I've
up.
been doing these since I was 3.
I mean, look, I understand some people will be very impressed with that because it is impressive, there's no doubt. Other people say, well, I'm sure other teams, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, fine. But we can still enjoy the clip. And you're
Yeah.
right, Cole Palmer just seemed to be just popping it through the middle of the play. It was just the confidence that young man has.
Yeah.
Perhaps we will see him tonight.
Kyle Walker was fuming by the end because Jordan Henderson is counting the
Yeah.
either the
And that's why he's there now.
Passes or
That
his-
is one of the reasons.
or
why
his
he fits.
wages.
all the people in the stand at home games. 1, 2, 3.
He's not good at counting. Yeah.
I know it now. I break up to 10.
Yeah, so it was impressive. The aforementioned Rico Lewis was called up at the start of the week for the first time.
Yeah.
You would think that was just a kind of here's a little taste of the biscuit.
Yeah, get used to the setup.
Yes,
I
exactly.
I think to slightly double back and answer your question, Marcus. I think we will see Trent Alexander-Arnold start in midfield.
He does like to do that.
Yes, he's called him up as a midfielder. He made quite a sort of point of talking about that. So I think we're going to see that, because I think he might be in there as a sort of insurance policy in case Calvin Phillips doesn't move in January and gets no football, just so you've got a player who's a bit fresher in that position.
I think...
I know it's played slightly differently, but...
Well, I think that would be my point. I think you're more likely to have Conor Gallagher as cover for Calvin Phillips, or indeed Jordan Henderson, whereas I think if he wanted to play a midfield with 2 advancing rather than 2 behind Bellingham, you'd have Trent Alexander-Arnold on one side if you wanted to change the shape of that midfield. I don't think he would slot in next to Rice necessarily, but I mean, you're just having little tinkers here and there.
Do you know when Trent Alexander-Arnold was at his best, it was, say, at his best at right back.
Yeah.
A lot of it was dependent on Henderson covering for him and basically filling in the right back role, essentially, when Liverpool had the ball and Arnold was going forward, and when they got hit back, Henderson would be in that right back position. Do you think Conor Gallagher could do that role in order to get the most out of midfielder Trent Alexander-Arnold, in that he wouldn't necessarily have to play out of position, not out of position, but in midfield?
So what you would have, Rice, Gallagher?
Well, I'm trying to, as I talk
Gallagher
through
would be
it,
the other side of Rice if that was.
Well, so that's what I mean. So flipping them essentially, so that you'd have that, or even it could just go where Alexander-Arnold goes. If you think of like how.
My answer's no.
Yeah, but that's fair enough, because I was also thinking about it. Well, then where does Kyle Walker go?
Well, exactly. Kyle
Walker. There's a knock-on effect of all that, which I suppose is the reason why Alexander-Arnold will play in midfield.
He's not going to start over Trippier or Walker.
No, exactly, yeah. But my only trepidation about Alexander-Arnold in midfield is what he's like without the ball in midfield.
Of course, I mean, but you would hope that he's had enough drilling at Liverpool and whatnot in similar kind of roles to know what to do with that. But yes, there would be, for some people, there might be a question mark there. Yeah. Whereas Gallagher has the best stats of ball retention, I think, of midfielders in the whole league. He's clearly impressed at Chelsea this season. He's obviously played well in other seasons, for Palace as well, if you want to go all the way back there. So yes, I would have imagined that in a particular type of role, Gallagher's there. However, if England are down and you think, right, do you know what, lads, we need something or whatever, I think Trent is a very handy player off the bench as well, which is something that it sounds a bit odd saying that, because of course he's never off the bench for Liverpool. He's always starting. So
but I think that's a really good point, because one of the main criticisms coming out of Euro 2024 Southgate was his use of substitutes. It felt like it was a bit school team, in that, like, so Saka came on and did really well, and Saka would always be the first sub. And I suppose even having an option, even having these closers per se from the bench, is going to have multiple options to come on and do multiple different things, whether it's closing out a game or chasing a game. That is only going to improve England.
But I would imagine tonight you could maybe even see Ollie Watkins start, even though Kane probably wouldn't fancy that. So you might see one or two, but I think you summed it up, Vish, moments ago when you said there will be experiments, but within the parameters. Could we see Ezri Konsa get some minutes? Surely.
I think that'd be pretty cool. I think he's someone who has been really impressive this season, considering that when Tyrone Mings got injured in the first game of the season, you kind of thought, right, they've lost a bit of a leader there. And he's stepped up. Konsa stepped up basically and shown that responsibility. And you might as well. We are kind of lacking for regular faces in defence. So why not?
Some suggested that when Tyrone Mings was playing for England and Konsa hadn't been called up yet to the senior squad, they're actually saying maybe Konsa would be the better option. But Mings, I think, Mings being left-footed, that's
also, obviously quite a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, got some, if you like, big minutes under his belt at the Euros, of course. And he's a big personality and a leader, whereas Konsa seems to be kind of coming through with regards to all that kind of stuff. So,
and he's of an age where he's got broader shoulders than most other prospects, you would say, in that squad.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
well, you're seeing this sort of newer generation of defenders coming through now with Colwill, Konsa, Gay. It's quite exciting actually, because England have lacked a little bit in those areas. I mean, Stones is still 29. He's still going to be around for a few years, but it's quite nice.
Also, Konsa just wrote up the fucking Villa on Twitter.
Did he actually?
on November the 12th. So I'm a big fan of him.
I thought you said he would release that today, and you're like, no, you're not with. You're playing for a different side. Eric Dyer's obviously not in the squad. this time. Didn't stop Harry Kane dropping him in an interview this week. Kane was asked which player he'd least like to sit next to on a long-haul flight, and he replied, Eric Dyer. Eric just sleeps everywhere, on the coach, on the plane, so I'll be getting no conversation from him.
Oh, good God. That's perfect, isn't it?
I thought that. I thought
Lord
exactly that.
alive.
Just read a book.
Eric,
Eric,
wake up. I want to talk about my feelings. Oh, God.
I want to talk about my goals.
Eric, can we let's play at the same time?
He's not asleep. He's not asleep. He's got those glasses with eyes on. Or the other way around, I don't know.
Eyes closed.
He's written 3 Zs on his head.
Yeah.
On his forehead.
He's always asleep.
That seems ideal. Like, yeah.
I didn't think. I thought Kane would be a bit more relaxed.
You're quite a chatty plane passenger, aren't you, Marcus? You like a little plane chat.
Sorry about that.
No, I'm not. It's not a criticism.
As soon as you're in there, I'm concentrating on my farts. So just gotta get them all out.
Yeah.
People can't smell them up there. It's perfect.
We don't know.
I do my
People
best
can't
work.
smell them up there.
They just can't. Your nose, the capillaries in your nose close up, I think, and you can't smell anything.
Well,
anything I'm up to. That's why the plain food is so salty.
You can't smell anything I'm up to. Wow.
That's not anything I'm up to.
If you see
I could have
Pete
doused
on a-
myself in petrol. No one would know.
If you see Pete on a plane, do get back to us.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know.
Well, don't
'cause
get
you
on.
always-
No, we're going to get an absolute deluge of correspondence
Yeah.
because everyone looks like Pete.
That's true. We don't know what he smells like on a plane because he always books a separate flight to us.
Somebody did Snapchat a picture of me to their mate.
That was
they saw
weird.
me randomly. I was still having fun at 6 o'clock in the morning in I think Sweden or something.
Well done.
Or getting on a flight.
Well done.
And someone took a picture. It's the best picture anyone's ever taken of me. I look amazing.
That's how
And
you
I
get the
do
best.
never say that.
That is how you get the best out of yourself. I'll keep
Yeah.
telling you. All right, everybody, let's have a quick break.
Good morning, Glenn.
Yes.
Tell us something your mum doesn't know. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody.
I'd get a tattoo of him.
Yeah,
I really
He's
would.
great. I hope they've just given him free tickets to every England game.
Yeah. Vish, sorry to take over, Mark. I'm just a bit worried legally that we've not found out whether Sting closed that pub or not.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, yeah, I stopped.
You stopped Googling it? Oh, never mind. Well, you carry on with that. But just let us know within the next 5 minutes whether that happened or whether it didn't.
Yes,
happen,
we'll
all right?
do. We'll do.
Okay.
Okay.
Armenia versus Wales tomorrow at 2 p.m. Seems pointless talking about this now while we wait about
Yeah.
this confirmation.
the
Who did
That's-
Who did Summer of '69?
Brian Adams.
That's the...
Oh, Brian Adams. What's the other? The really
No.
annoying, but It's My Life.
You're Googling the wrong...
It was Brian Adams. There you go.
It was Brian Adams.
Brian Adams bought a house in Chelsea.
He's a Chelsea fan as well.
The pub next door to him was too noisy for his taste, so he bought the place and shut it down.
Right.
Wow.
Okay. That's a bit rich for a man who released an album called Waking Up the Neighbours. Isn't it?
Well, maybe it.
Well played,
Well, we
Seth.
don't know
Well
what
played.
point of view that was from. Maybe
Yeah.
he
Can I
was annoyed
say-
at the pub. Maybe it was
Maybe-
a critique
I
of
love the
pub.
fact that you
Everything.
know that's one of his albums.
I worked for Absolute Radio for 10 years.
That's so you did,
Of course I
yeah.
did.
Oh, that's Brian Adams is Absolute Radio fodder, isn't it?
Oh,
Did
massively,
he
yeah.
have another album called Reckless?
Yes. Yeah. I
There
think
you
so,
are.
yeah.
He's
Man's a
He
fraud.
talks a good game, doesn't he?
the man is a fraud. By the way, right? He's got a lot of money, so hence buying a house in Chelsea and all the rest of it. Surely you would see that pub is there.
Yeah. Or pay to remove your ears. Don't ruin everyone
Yeah,
else's.
he's
fun.
only
Soundproof
taken-
one wall.
Is there anything else about Armenia versus Wales that we sort of can avoid?
Well, I think we speak for everyone. We hope that they managed to do it because
Yes.
they've set themselves up for having to do a few cup finals
That's
in a
right,
row.
that's right.
And they've managed the most difficult one. So I think they've got enough to do the double in the trio, in
That's
the
right.
triforce, in the triptych. I just hope they get through this test.
Indeed.
They lost this game, didn't they, in Wales? Which is the
Well, as I've mentioned a number of times before, a fine collection of goals was scored
Yeah.
by Armenia. So if you're Rob Page, you would say, look, how often does that one go in? How often does that one go in? Unfortunately, it did go in that night. So by the law of averages, just let them shoot, lads. So, of course, Wales have given themselves a fighting chance of qualifying because of that great victory against Croatia. So they need to beat Armenia. Then they host Turkey, who are top of the group and already qualified.
yeah.
So, you've got to put this one away because, my goodness, what a chance at home against an already qualified side. A good side, lest we
But
forget.
a side cursed by Andy Brassel.
Indeed. So it is tantalising. of course, if Wales can beat Armenia. Croatia are away to Latvia on Saturday, which you would imagine they would win, and then they host Armenia, which you would imagine they would win as well. So that's why we're thinking Wales need to win both of these games, of course. It's very nicely poised, and all eyes on that one because it is such an important game. Rob Page was speaking about VAR this week, and he said that rugby union's television match officials are way ahead of VAR in football. And whenever someone likens football to rugby, I tend to just think, oh, yeah, sod off.
Yeah, they're very, very different. And also,
very different traditions as well.
Very different traditions, very different rules. And the role of the referee is really, really different as well. It's essentially sort of like keeping everybody safe on the pitch because it's so much more aggressive. But also it's had years more practice. So, I mean, I do think...
So we can't be bothered doing
No,
that.
but I think there is potentially an arrogance from within football where they essentially are going to put that view forward, though, that the sports are so different, there's nothing we can really learn from rugby, let's not listen to that lot. Rugby does it really well, so maybe consult them. And I don't know that they haven't consulted them.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah, but I think Rob Page is bang right.
Oh, okay, interesting. He's not the only Welshman who's in charge of a national team, of course. Have you heard this? That Rob Sherman, all the Welsh Robs are getting the jobs at the moment. He's been appointed manager of Fiji. And his first game is on Saturday tomorrow against the Northern Marianas Islands. I'll be honest, I've never heard of them. And he's targeting qualification for the big one, the World Cup itself, because Oceania now has one more qualification spot.
1.5, isn't it, officially?
Yeah,
it goes into a playoff.
It was 0.5 before, which was how New Zealand would need to play a playoff, as you say, and whatnot. I mean, what is there? 211, I think, FIFA nation teams that compete.
Yeah.
And we're not far off a quarter of them playing at the World Cup in North America, I think, so if you don't qualify, you've really got to look at yourself, haven't you?
Yeah, pack it in.
Pack it in. So all the pressure is on Rob Sherman now to get Fiji to the World Cup.
He's a very impressive man, though. There was a sort of article on him, which is how he discovered that he's taken over this job. And he used to, I think he's represented Wales in 3 different sports.
That is good.
He's been a footballer in his time. He was a lifeguard. And I think he competed in the 100-meter beach sprint, which is something that a lot of lifeguards do because obviously it's you might save someone's life if you're slightly faster.
And of course, the guy who's won the most of them is David Hasselhoff.
Of course,
Although he always went very slowly, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did, but he's building up speed.
Apparently,
he had to run all the way to Berlin and knock that wall down. And the momentum, the sheer momentum that you need just across the Atlantic.
Apparently, in real life as well, it was quicker.
Right. Okay. Okay. Very slow.
Interesting.
Imagine the opening credits of Baywatch if they just did it in real time.
Yeah,
how
with the
crap
Benny
it would
Hill
have been.
Real time, no music on it.
In the background, somebody shouting, Dave, do you want ice cream?
Oh dear. So well done, Rob Sherman. We wish you all the best.
Yeah.
We wish you all the best. From one impressive man to another, let's talk about Portugal versus Iceland on Sunday. Portugal have been very impressive in qualification, and Cristiano Ronaldo scored last night against Liechtenstein, his 128th international goal. The next player in the men's list down from that is Ali Dai, who, of course, you remember years ago when we were doing profiles and all that. So Ali Dai was this mythical figure who had scored 108 international goals.
Played for Bayern Munich for a bit, but barely got off the bench.
Right, but international football was clearly where he massively excelled. Although he had an impressive club career. Ronaldo's got 20 more than him.
Yeah. it is ridiculous at this point.
120, he's 38. He's still going. I reckon if you asked him, can you get to 200? I reckon about 50% of his brain's thinking, yeah, I think I can. It's just stunning stuff. I know it's only Liechtenstein, but the man is scoring goals.
There are a lot of games like that, aren't there? And that's how we rack those up.
Yeah, I mean, well, exactly. Why have not more people got 128 international goals, Jim?
But to be fair, or actually maybe not to be fair, but so Ruben Neves played in defence yesterday, yeah,
right.
And then in front of him, Jota, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, João Cancelo, João Felix, Gonzalo Ramos, and Ronaldo.
That's disrespectful to Liechtenstein, isn't it? We don't need anybody running back.
Yeah.
No defenders.
You do what you want over there.
Yeah.
We're not even bothered, mate. But not only are there more types of those games, but provided, if he wants to go beyond the Euros, and there's every chance that he might, we don't know that he will necessarily close it off from there. I mean, with that supporting cast,
Yeah.
that's like a cross between Ocean's 11 and Weekend at Bernie's.
I like that.
You've just got all these like heavy hitters,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like, right, we can prop you up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And obviously, they're not quite propping him up, but there were a few times yesterday where he's clearly just got one number or one tally in his head that he's constantly thinking about, because he missed quite a good chance from about the penalty spot at the start of the second half and hit the post.
Yeah.
Not so long before his actual goal, and every time he misses, he's fuming because he's like, that might be the last
That's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only won 2-0.
Yeah. Slugs.
Despite 10 attacking players.
Well, it goes to show you that every team needs a Claude Makelele. We promised you South America. Let's go there now. Colombia beat Brazil 2-1. The first time they've ever beaten Brazil in a World Cup match. It's obviously not World Cup finals, but a World Cup qualification match.
Wow.
And so it's a huge result anyway.
Yeah.
Then you throw in Luis Diaz and all that stuff. Vitushin entourage. Amazing scenes and an amazing night in Colombia last night.
Yeah, unbelievable. You think of all the things that could have happened with Diaz's father, and the idea that he was there in the crowd watching his son score both of those goals in such a historic win
isn't
is ridiculous. Yeah.
Is Luis Diaz an underrated headerer of the ball?
I'm also going to say that, yeah.
That
yeah.
second one in particular, throwing himself, it was glorious stuff.
Yeah, it was all pretty magic. What a lovely, cute father, by the way.
Yeah,
An adorable little thing.
Adorable little dad.
Pleased that he's safe.
Yeah.
Who's got the most adorable dad here?
My dad looked like Martin Yole,
There you go. Winner.
and constantly smiling.
The winner.
Right,
You've
good.
won. You've won.
Is that
Your
it?
dad's
Yeah.
pretty great, Pete.
Say again?
Your dad's pretty great.
He's not adorable, though. He's roly-poly.
Yeah.
That's quite sweet in its own way.
I mean, babies are often described
That's
as
true,
roly
that's true.
poly.
Is he always rolling on the floor?
Little forward rolls. Yeah. Got a big lollipop.
I mean, look, obviously everyone is incredibly happy for Diaz to have his father and his mother back as well, because she was obviously released a while ago. But then to score 2 goals in a historic victory for Colombia, it's amazing. And he'd missed a couple of efforts earlier than that, and you thought, oh no, please don't lose 1-0, and you've missed a couple of chances that you might otherwise put away.
The first one he missed when it was 1-0, he looked absolutely just bereft.
Yes.
didn't he?
But fortunately, just everything conspired so it would be his and Colombia's night. Martinelli got the goal for Brazil, Jim. It was quite nice to see, wasn't it?
It was nice to see Gabriel played as well. So
I mean,
well done them.
And also Diaz
Well done the
scoring.
Gabbies.
Well done the Gabbies. Also scoring against his Liverpool teammate Alisson in goal, who embraced him after the final whistle.
So much narrative, more narrative than usual.
Well, there really is, and the fans. There was reports on X, formerly known as Twitter, that 2 hours before the game, the stadium was filling up. There was so much fanfare for this because of Luis Diaz, who is their main man now. You know, the baton has been passed from James Rodriguez, who still plays, of course, but Diaz is there. It's filling up. You know, it's getting a great atmosphere, but also there was a feeling that this could be Colombia's time to finally beat them in a World Cup qualification match, and they bloody well have done it. They bloody well have done it. So, marvellous stuff. And not the only outstanding result from the continent there as well, because Uruguay beat Argentina 2-0 in Buenos Aires last night, and obviously they are managed by Marcelo Bielsa. Jim Campbell, lovely old job for them.
Lionel Messi said you can see Bielsa's hand on the way Uruguay is playing, which is very, very enjoyable.
It is.
Obviously, Captain Chaos among the goals as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, Darwin Núñez missed a chance early on, which he should have scored. Yep, and then he scored a goal late on.
It's almost like a herald of a goal in the future, that though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's incredible that he gets the chances.
Yeah.
Because you think to yourself, a chance that presents itself as the one early in the game did, you think, well, that's your chance gone kind of thing, against an airtight defence.
It sounds almost idiotic, doesn't it? But finding space is a talent. It's
Yeah.
a real skill. Erling Haaland's amazing at it. How often do we see him like unmarked at the back post? You think, how have you done that? How has a team allowed that? But it happens all the time.
Well,
It's not the failure of a team. It's the skill of the forward.
Right, and I think that we often call him Captain Well, everybody does, of course. Not just us. But he is obviously an intelligent footballer because he keeps finding spaces where I don't think many people would necessarily call him that because it is quite hectic. But he was there, and he was part of ending Argentina's 14-match 14-match winning run, which stretched back to the World Cup when Saudi Arabia beat them. And of course, Argentina have been brilliant. Messi has scored in, I think, every Argentinian game since Poland at the World Cup as well. They've been brilliant in qualification. They're still top of the group despite that loss. And yet Bielsa and the boys turn up and put them to the sword. That's what happens, you see.
Dean Smith also said you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
He doesn't know what that means. It's Jack's Encyclopedia.
Oh.
Hope you're keeping well, everyone. Simple game of categories. Are you ready to play? I'm not even going to explain what it is. Just simple game of categories. Close your laptops.
No, I'm using mine as a
Yeah,
shield.
the shield.
All right,
shield.
fine. Use them as shields. Okay.
In case
good.
our friends cheat.
Digital shields. It's like battleships in the studio at the moment. Unbelievable. Right. Vish holds the lineal belt. Jim won last week after an unprecedented three-way tiebreaker. That's one way to describe that absolute monstrosity. We're going to kick things off with you, Jim, once again. Hope you got your Jack's Encyclopedia shoes on. We're going to kick things off with winners of the Men's England Player of the Year award. Winners of the Men's England Player of the Year award.
How many are there?
Oh,
Like ever.
Interest.
He's stalling.
it started in 2003.
So I'm going to go with Harry Kane.
You're going to have Harry Kane just jumping right in there. Lovely, well done.
Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka twice.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Wow. Raheem Sterling.
Raheem didn't get there. Didn't get there.
Wow.
Sad to see.
Frankie Lampard.
He's always performed very well. Frankie Lampard, correct.
Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard, of course. 2007,
One
2012.
stays.
Hello.
It's Torres.
I'll go for a slightly rogue one. Scott Parker.
I like it. 2011. That's
Well,
a nice,
that's
that's a
nice.
lovely bit of work.
That is nice, yeah. I am going to go with...
It's Torres.
Formula One.
It was.
Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I was guiding him. But he's let you
Unfortunately not.
down.
Unfortunately not. Congratulations, Marcus, for bagging that one. You could have had Adam Lallana. You could have had Ashley Cole. You could have had David Beckham. Hendo, 2019. Calvin Phillips.
I was going to guess Phillips or Rice. I remember one of them got it, yeah.
Okay.
And finally, for now, he's releasing videos of himself on the internet. Owen Hargreaves.
Owen Hargreaves.
2006. All right, round 2, kicking off with Marcus, if that's all right with you. The 20 biggest football stadiums in Europe by capacity,
Oh, not this again.
as per Wikipedia. The 20 biggest football stadiums in Europe by capacity, as per Wikipedia. We are classifying Europe by the countries that compete in European competition,
Okay.
which is pretty flexible these days, isn't it?
Surely Wembley.
Wembley Stadium, 90,000 people.
Because if it's not, I'm kicking off.
Stade de France.
Stade de France, 81,000.
The new camp.
The new camp, the Camp Nou, 99,000.
The Bernabeu.
Ooh, 81.
81.
The Allianz Arena.
Allianz, 75. Munich.
Can I have Dortmund Stadium? Can I say that?
No, you got to name the stadium.
Yeah.
Westfalen Stadion.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well played.
No.
If it was
It's
right.
not in there. Marcus?
Old Trafford.
Yeah, I should have just said that.
Yeah,
Obviously in there,
75,000. Congratulations, Marcus.
Hampden Park.
Hampden Park
Surely not.
is not in there. It's only 45, isn't it?
Is
Am I
it?
being silly?
No,
It's not
Hampden Park's
much
only
stuff,
50.
Why does it look so big on TV?
It doesn't though. 1 tier.
So you've won?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Marcus Speller wins!
Marcus.
Could have
Clean it
had the San Siro, lads.
Oh, yeah.
Well, San Siro.
Thank you. Never get to hear the end of that. With,
Yeah, I
without
mean,
people
like,
talking over it.
I mean, what I would say is, Jim, that if you had named the Dortmund stadium correctly, you would have got there. Yeah,
Signal
Iduna Park.
Right.
Westfalen is what it used to be called, though. So it's been renamed.
Yeah.
So
but
the baseball ground has come back to haunt me. Maybe I'm cursed.
Well, unlucky. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe Bryan Adams is going to buy it and close it down.
Maybe.
No one knows.
Maybe.
I think if you have like a stadium that's like the EE Wembley Stadium or something at the moment. Like, I think if you'd got that, you would have been fine. But because it doesn't comprise any of the words in the original name of the stadium, I think you're allowed to.
When the Emirates becomes the Bryan Adams Stadium, we won't call it the Emirates anymore.
Well, you could have had the Ataturk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul. You could have had the one in Athens, Baku.
Could you have just said Olympic Stadium?
Stadium.
I think it would have, you would have covered Rome.
Yeah.
You would have got a few there.
Estadio Metropolitano in Madrid, Krastovsky Stadium in St. Petersburg, Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow, Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, Olympic Stadium in Berlin and Kiev.
Yeah, there you go.
Puskás Arena in Budapest, San Siro in Milan. We had Stadio Olimpico, another one.
Yep.
We had the Stade Velodrome in Marseille.
If someone
as well.
had just said Olympic Stadium, would
Yeah.
have got Stadion Olimpico. If it's just been variations.
Hey, you got to draw a line somewhere.
You
and
do,
we drew the
Peter.
line where it was.
There we
Right?
are. And you have to draw the line on the weekend somewhere, but
You
that
do.
line now has been disrupted
It
for about
disrupted.
2.5 days. Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble preview show. It's part of the Acast Creator Network. Do follow us on Twitter, currently known as X, TikTok, YouTube and Instagram at Football Ramble. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast app. The gate to the weekend is open. Get out there, everybody. Have a jolly old time. Thank you very much, Vish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
I want to run to you.
Jim.
Weekend.
Thank you.
Was that Bon Jovi?
No, Bryan Adams.
Brian bloody Adams.
He's rubbish. Who
Brian
cares?
Jovi.
Basically one of the same as far as I'm concerned.
And thank you, Brian Adams. See you soon.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.